just a bit outside.
And welcome to another episode of Just a Bit Outside. I'm your host, Steve Ely, and along with me, as always, my co-host, Wes Cook.
Red October, baby.
It is. It is.
Yes.
I'm going blue October.
I bet
Blue
you
and
are.
orange.
And right now they got a lead, right?
They do.
Yeah. It started off a little rough, but
Very shaky start off. But
top
now
of the third now, and they hold a 3-2 lead over Milwaukee. So, playoffs. I guess you could kind of say started yesterday with that doubleheader between the Mets and the Braves.
Yeah.
That was a very fun first game. Second one, not so much.
That's only because the wind locked the Braves in.
I know. I told you the Mets had one fucking job.
Well, technically they had two, but
Well,
they needed
I guess
to get
they
in.
know they need to get it. But see, their one job was to sweep the Braves yesterday, make sure the Mets got in and the Braves were left out. But no, you had to give them an out and let them in here. Fucking assholes.
Hey, man, I can't control everything.
I know. Hey, you should have made a call up there to New York to tell those assholes to play better in game 2.
I'll be on it as soon as this game's over.
Well, it doesn't matter now. Yeah, so, of course, playoffs in baseball started today. We got wild card rounds happening right now. I think Detroit won the opening game in the American League. We have Baltimore and Kansas City at top of the ninth. Kansas City's down 1 run. It's 1-0, but they got 2 on with 2 outs at the top of the ninth. Just pulled their pitcher. So see what Baltimore's got up their sleeve to see if they can close out game 1. And then we have the first game of the NL wild card that has the Brewers and the Mets going head-to-head, 3-2, top of the third inning right now with, is that Lindor at bat?
Yep.
All right. And, of course, the Dodgers have the 1 seed in the NL, and the Phillies have the 2 seed, so they both have a bye. And then it is the Yankees with the 1 seed in the West and the Guardians with the 2nd seed, or vice versa. I think it's the Yankees, though.
I think it's Yankees.
Yeah. So, of course, they both get buys. So, playoffs heating up. Excited. Super excited for Red October. Hoping for a deep run for the Phils because the Eagles suck.
You want to go ahead and do your 10-minute rant?
Hopefully it's not 10 minutes.
You want to get it over with?
I mean, we can get it over with.
I mean, we're gonna talk more football, but go ahead and I want you to do it because I'm gonna rant at the end about
Well, we'll start. We'll go ahead and start with football. This weekend, everybody's hyped for Sunday, right? You get hyped for Sunday. Your team's getting ready to play, and I mean, it was over before it started, right? The first 2 drives, Baker Mayfield looked like Tom Brady back there.
And with
14-0 after 2 drives, the defense looked like they didn't show up. They were just fucking not there at all. I mean, Baker didn't make any bad decisions. I mean, and then there were opportunities for us to crawl back into that game, and we were fumbling the ball or throwing the pick. I mean, just things were bad overall. And the way the defense played the week before against New Orleans in New Orleans.
Where did that defense go?
Where did that defense go? Week over week, they didn't show up prepared, and they just got torched on 2 straight drives to start a game and put your team behind the 8 ball. Now, don't get me wrong, the offense was just as bad. The offense didn't get a yard of offensive production until like the 3rd or 4th drive.
Yeah, that's not the way to start.
It's not a recipe for a win.
No.
And the thing is, it comes out, we go off and hire Kellen Moore to run the offense. Let him run the fucking offense.
Yeah.
I mean, last year, when Sirianni was calling plays, shit hit the fan. And now Sirianni's trying to call plays again and just meddle with the whole recipe that is supposed to be taking place. And he just needs to take his fucking hands out of it.
Well, that's why you hire coordinators. You've put guys in that position.
I get it. Like you had your time and you shined as an offensive coordinator. But the thing is, what you're doing now is not working. It didn't work at the end of last year. It's not working now. You need to get your hand out of all of it. You're a motivator and you're a player management guy at this point as a head coach.
Yeah.
You manage the time, manage your timeouts. Make sure you're getting the right guys in the right place. But the play calling's out of your hands now. They quit trying to step in and do something that's not your job at this point because you're not good at it. That's the problem. Let Kellen Moore do it. And then, now let's say the offense isn't clicking and we're down 14, 21, whatever you want to call it. Then maybe you might want to take over some play calling, see what you can do. But when you got a guy like Saquon Barkley back there and you give him 10 touches for the game, what the fuck you doing? What did we sign him for? Why did we spend all that money on him if you're not going to utilize him?
Well, it was 10 very productive touches.
He's always productive. That's the thing. You've seen it through the first 3 weeks. Week 2 wasn't very great by any means, but still, you've seen like when Saquon gets the touches, he gets holes, he's productive with the football in his hands. And knowing that we were without our 2 best wide receivers, without a right tackle, a future Hall of Famer at that matter, you're talking about you need to run the fucking football. And they didn't do it. I don't care that you got behind 14-0 early on. You got time to get back into this game.
14-0 in today's game isn't a lot.
We saw it in other games this weekend. The Packers, for instance, they came back.
28-0.
Right.
Yeah.
Teams can come back. It's not a problem. You saw it in college, too. You saw Bama and Georgia. It was a blowout, and Georgia crawled back in and took the lead.
Yeah.
And they did it just by sticking to the game plan and correcting the little things.
Making adjustments. Stop making mistakes.
Yeah. And the thing is, now you're just throwing the ball all over the place, and Hurts has proven he's not very compatible with, these new pieces like Dotson. And damn, I've lost him. Paris Campbell.
Yep, I think that's him.
Yeah. He just doesn't have the reps with him. He doesn't have the trust. So what are we doing? What are we fucking doing when you got Saquon Barkley? Hand him the ball. Hand him the fucking football. I don't care if we run it 3 straight downs and if we have to punt at that point. At least I know we're giving a shit and trying, but you're not. That's the thing.
Well, you only had 2 attempts to Barkley as far as passing attempts, too.
Right.
And he's one of the best in the league.
At catching the ball out of the backfield. Yeah. He's one of the best receiving running backs in the league. It's just bad play calling, bad execution, bad game plan. Everything was awful. And it led to what you saw. And you could point to injuries on the offense as to why nothing was clicking, but it's still you still got a lot of talented pieces in place in order to be successful, especially against this Tampa Bay team.
Yeah.
I don't think they're that special.
I don't think they're that special, but they're
they're
doing enough to get it done.
They're good offensively, don't get me wrong. Baker's doing what he needs to do. Like I said, he looked like Tom Brady back there. He was executing at a very high clip in that first half.
Kind of sad that you look at this, not to change the subject too far, but you look at how Baker's playing, you look at how Sam Darnold's playing, you're like, right now you could argue that those 2 guys are your MVPs at the moment.
Yeah.
Who would have thought that going into the season? But yeah, I didn't get the touches for Saquon. That was your Cadillac piece that you brought in.
Well, and they'll point to we were down big, we had to catch up quick. No, you don't.
No, you don't.
There's a whole game ahead of you. We're still in the first quarter and you're down 14-0. Run the football.
Hold the ball. Just run some clock. Keep them away from them.
Keep the defense off the field. You've already gassed them.
Yeah.
Not that they were playing great. They shorted up a little bit in the second half. It didn't matter. It's not like they were Tampa Bay was, stomping the gas pedal either. But It was poor execution. It was poor form. Everything was awful. They got a bye week. They can get a little healthy and hopefully get their shit together because this Eagles team is just reminiscent of everything we saw at the end of last year.
Yeah, it's pretty close. Injuries aren't helping. I mean, when you don't have AJ Brown, you don't have Devontae Smith. That's huge.
I mean, yeah, it is. I mean, it's going to be a detriment to your offense for
But
sure.
That's why Saquon should have more than 12 touches.
Exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, your other two stars are gone, and I know you got Goddard. You're going to utilize Goddard. Goddard's been big, especially in that Saints game. He's huge. But you've got to get your star players the football. And you got to get the guys that have the rapport with Jalen Hurts the football. And they just didn't do that. It was a piss poor performance. I'm pissed off about it. They better come out of the bye week, not this weekend, but next weekend, and they better show something different on offense. I mean, because the Browns' defense is good. That's the one thing they got going for them. Now, they might not score any points, but if you turn the football over and give them short fields, the Eagles are going to be looking at a 2-3 record just based upon that Browns defense.
Yeah. Yeah, it could happen.
Yeah.
You mentioned the Packers. Packers did lose, but turned into a very exciting game.
Yeah, I mean, they made it interesting. But the thing is you're talking about executing and doing all the right things. Because, I mean, let's be real. Jordan Love didn't look good early.
No, he did not.
I mean, he turned the ball over, 3 times?
Yep.
Yeah, it's not a good recipe for a W. That's for sure. But the thing was, he stayed composed, didn't get out of the moment, didn't rush, and they still, went back to the basics. They corrected, the on-field issues they were having defensively. Same thing offensively, and it allowed for them to make it a game and have a shot towards the end.
They did. They had it.
Yeah.
The turnovers by Jordan, they kind of put them.
I mean, it hurts. Yeah. I mean,
it hurt bad.
Expect? Yeah.
But like I said, then second half they corrected. They got it right. They turned what was a blowout into a competitive game. I would have loved to seen a W there, but the Vikings are looking legitimate.
Yeah,
to be honest,
Sam Darnold, man, MVP candidate right now.
Dude, I think he's the leading MVP candidate at the moment.
Why wouldn't he be? The Vikings are 4-0.
4-0, and he has played fantastic. It's amazing what happens when you give a guy opportunity and the right pieces around him and probably some pretty good coaching to go with it. Saying, hey, we know what you do good. We know what you do well. We know what you struggle with. We'll kind of stay away from that. We're going to work to make you the best we can make you.
Well, yeah, they're capitalizing on what he's good at, and they're trying to minimize what he's bad at. And, they're masking that well. Now, does that change later in the season with more film and things like that? Possibly. But if he keeps executing at a high clip, I mean, the confidence is just going to continue to rise. He's going to be fine. And you keep letting him build confidence like this, Sam Darnold's going to fucking come out and be an MVP and floor everybody. I would love to know the odds at the beginning of the year that said Sam Darnold for MVP.
Oh, God, it's probably plus 20,000. Easy.
It's got to be something high.
Easy.
Something ridiculous. You threw $10 at that just for shits and gigs? But I mean, I guarantee you your cash out's sitting at $1,000 right now.
Probably.
Right. Yeah.
Probably.
I mean, you turn 10 to 1,000. I would bank it right now.
I would cash out on it.
Yeah, absolutely. My $10 is $1,000
on a joke, on probably what would have been a joke
bet. Yeah, absolutely. It's like I've thrown $10 at way worse than a $10 bet on Sam Darnold to be MVP.
Yeah. I mean, he's playing lights out. It's just remarkable. Remarkable, and it's what's crazy is he wasn't even going to be the starter.
I know. J.J. McCarthy getting hurt has changed that team for the best. Like, they couldn't have asked for anything better to happen.
I got a question for you. What do they do if, say, they go out? I'm not even saying they win a Super Bowl, but they make a deep playoff run with Sam.
That comes back into play for who was it there? Who was there like 5, 6, 7 years ago? and he was clicking with them. Shit. Who was their quarterback then?
Well,
It was
Kirk.
before Kirk
It was
Cousins.
before Kurt. It was
Who was that dude? He was kind of a journeyman, and he kind of made his spot there for a couple years.
Was it Case Keenum?
Yeah, I think that's it. Was it Case Keenum?
I think so. It was one. It was
It's one of those dudes.
yeah, because it was where like it was essentially the Rams 3 quarterbacks that played for the Rams the previous year were all playing like lights out football
Right.
for other teams, and they couldn't do anything with the Rams. But that was pre Sean McVay.
Yeah, it's nuts.
I think it was Case Keenum. I'm
Yeah,
almost positive.
I'm pretty sure you got that one right. I'm going to say you did. Let's go with that. But yeah, it comes back to that, like, because do you keep him or are you searching for something else? Yeah, you got JJ McCarthy locked up for the next 4 years after this one. You got a guy you could now develop and let Sam Darnold kind of take the reins. And then the thing is you come in and you got 3 years under your belt and Sam Darnold's winning you football games and putting you in the playoffs. You've got a trade piece of JJ McCarthy because he's an unknown.
Yeah. I mean,
Because as long as he doesn't have to step foot on the field and show anything, you got an unknown that was a former first round pick that you're going to be able to use as trade bait to go get pieces that you need to fill gaps at.
Yeah, well, especially if you feel very comfortable with keeping Darnold and letting it roll.
Well, yeah,
'Cause,
I know we're only
he's not
4
an old,
games in. Yeah.
he's not an old guy by no means.
No, the thing is, he's been a journeyman at this point, but the thing is he's been successful in the small spots he's had. In Carolina, he was okay. When he went to San Francisco, he was doing okay.
Mhm.
And now look at him.
Well, the Jets didn't do him right.
But nobody does the Jets right.
The Jets do nobody right.
Exactly.
Like they can't.
I said nobody does the Jets right. My bad. I meant the Jets do nobody right.
Yeah,
exactly.
they're-
Because any quarterback that goes into that situation, Zach Wilson, Sam Darnold. Can we go back? Mark Sanchez was the last one that got him to the playoffs.
Yeah, and he wasn't great.
No, you infamous butt fumble.
Yeah.
So,
But Rex Ryan had a defense then.
they got a defense now.
Yeah, and they're not looking.
They're not looking awful. They're getting shit done.
The defense is looking good. The offense is
the
struggling.
offense is. What are you going to do? Because I just don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to be that same guy anymore.
That's the bet they banked on, though.
Well, yeah.
But at the same time, you didn't expect Aaron Rodgers to tear his Achilles last year. I don't care what you say. That's not
It's not an easy one to come back from.
Yeah,
it's worse than an ACL now.
Kirk Cousins is having the same issue right now.
The Falcons are still 2-2.
They are. That game was fantastic.
Yeah, a 58-yarder to win it.
What was it?
I knew the Saints were fool's gold to begin the year, though.
Well, the Falcons this week, they scored, a fumble recovery for a touchdown, an interception for a touchdown, and then multiple field goals.
Yep.
And I'm just like, what? 4 field goals?
Whatever wins, man.
No, I'm down with it, but
Hey, we've always said an ugly W is better than an ugly L.
always.
Yeah. Just like when we beat the Saints, it was ugly as shit, but I'll take it. The thing is, when you look at the Eagles, aside from last week, technically they should have been 3-0 going in this game. And then you look at them as fool's gold. Yeah. I think it was, you can kind of look at this offense and just tell, especially without A.J. Brown, it's like, it's night and day. And there's no consistency to it. There's no rhyme or reason to the way they make their play calls. The ballsiness of Sirianni is just kind of annoying at this point because there's so many opportunities to just take points in situations that don't require us to really go for it. The 4th and 2, the 4th and 1, and you try to recreate or you trick a team that you're going to, do the push and then round out Saquon to be tackled for a loss or at the line of scrimmage. And it's shit like that. It's like, quit being so fucking cute right now.
Yeah. How about just do basic stuff?
Let's get points.
Yeah.
Our offense is, through 4 weeks, our offense isn't great, and we're not putting a bunch of points on the board. So when you have the opportunity to get points, just take them. Mm-hmm. Just take them right now.
Three is always better than 0.
And fuck all the science and what says to go for it and what's not time to go for it and shit like that. Fuck all the analytics. I don't give a shit. Get back to playing basic football, making basic play calls, and getting the shit done.
Well, when you're struggling, that's what you should do. You
Take
should
the points.
Take the points.
Right.
Go back to the basics. Do the stuff you're fairly decent at. You've got a star running back, arguably one of the best in the game, if not the best.
Yeah, you got one of the best running backs in the game. You got a quarterback who's proven that he can be good, but he's a turnover machine right now.
Yeah.
Looks like Dak Prescott.
Dak Prescott, speaking of which, the Cowboys narrowly escaped the Giants. I don't think Mike McCarthy makes the season.
The way with the Birds, I don't know if Sirianni makes the season. Is this a race for who's going to try to go get Bill Belichick or something? I don't know. It's like,
I don't know.
And the thing is who would have thought the fucking Commodes would be leading the NFC East?
That's Rookie of the Year right there.
But hey, we called it, didn't we?
Oh, yeah.
We've called it. We said from the get that this was the guy to go get.
Absolutely. I was on him last year.
Yeah, we will. You were more on him because you picked LSU to win a national title. But, it doesn't matter. It still comes down to the fact that we've had a belief in that guy, and we knew it, and we said it before the draft. We said it during the combine. We said it
after the draft.
After the draft, we said watch. I just didn't see
it being this quick.
And almost just when you really think about it, just how quickly we get 2 generational quarterbacks that are playing at a high clip their rookie year. Because you had CJ Stroud last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's I even said it probably on the pod once there's no way that he's going to come out and play the same way that CJ Stroud did. But dude, he's outplaying CJ Stroud at this time, after 4 games, in his first year.
Arguably,
I would trade quarterbacks with Washington right now the way it looks.
You could put him in the MVP category at the moment.
Why not? Washington's 3-1, and their defense is suspect for sure. But
yeah.
But that offense is clicking, and they're doing things. They're going to score.
Yeah.
If anything, you got exciting football in Washington right now simply based on Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, and Dan Quinn will change the defense.
Yeah, he's got to get pieces. He's got to take time. But the funny thing is you have Brian Johnson is the offensive coordinator in Washington. He was the offensive coordinator last year in Philly. You're seeing it spelled out here. Sirianni might be the problem.
Yeah.
And not to take away anything from Washington. I'm not trying to. Because, as much as I hate him and I don't want to pull for him or anything, I just, you see Jaden Daniels balling out, and it's God, we saw this. It's like the prophecy we had. And apparently NFL GMs don't want to believe us.
No. Well, we talked about quarterbacks, but what this is doing is putting more pressure on teams to start these guys sooner than later. And I don't think you can do that with everybody.
No, you can't. Who's to say Drake May's not a good quarterback?
Yeah, but
know.
They don't have the pieces.
No, they don't. Not offensively, because after the first week, New England's not been anything. Mm-mm. And the defense is what won them the game to begin with. So, and that's something you just know with New England anyway. That's going to happen. I would
let Drake May just sit.
Yeah.
No, we're not going to rush you out there. We're going to struggle this year. Let's get some pieces in here. Let's spend some money in free agency. Let's do the things we need to do, and then we'll bring you along. Look at Bo Nix. Bo Nix is 2-2 also. And he is struggling mighty.
Thank God for Denver's defense.
That's right. Nix is playing awful.
But that is a huge turnaround for Denver, really. I mean, defensively, how bad they were last year. Because, I mean, Miami put up that 70 burger on them last year.
Yeah.
And you're not going to see that from this defense this year. Denver's defense is good. I think they are the second-rated defense in the league right now.
That's crazy.
Well, it is.
They just spanked the old Jets, so I'm cool with it.
They didn't really spank them. But, I mean, a 10-9 performance leads you to believe that this was most definitely a defensive battle.
Yeah.
Because the Jets, their defense is legit too. I mean, they held Knicks to 90 yards in the whole game.
I don't think it was 90. I think it was like 60.
It might have been, it might have been lower than that. It was under 100.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous from any quarterback out at this level.
It was, let's see, Mr. Knicks, 60 yards.
Jesus.
12 of 25, 60 yards and a touchdown.
12 of 25. That completion rate is awful.
Well, his average 2.4 yards per attempt.
That's just awful.
Mm-hmm. Terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how you evaluate your wide receivers when you have a quarterback that plays like that.
No, it's just you can't. You can't. I mean, the thing is, though, is like Bo Nix, we knew he was just going to be a work in progress when he got here.
Yeah.
He wasn't polished by any means.
No. Wow. He looked a lot better in Oregon than what I saw him his freshman year in Auburn. But he was a true freshman trying to play in the SEC.
Yeah, that's going to be a task for anybody.
Yeah.
But we're talking about a guy that we knew was going to come in and have his struggles, just especially with an offense that just was piss poor the year before too. Yeah, you can't. I mean, Cortland Sutton is his one target.
Yeah, he's your number one, and honestly, at best, he's probably a good number two.
Yeah,
at best.
Right, he shouldn't be a number one, but that's what you got to work with there. So that's what you're going to get.
Yeah, it was kind of surprising to me that they traded Jerry Jeudy.
Didn't make sense, right?
No.
Not when you need those kind of pieces in there right now.
Yeah.
I mean, because you're already very thin at wide receiver. Jerry Jeudy would be a guy that you want. Dude's a burner.
Yeah.
So it's a miss on that. I agree. And speaking of just the parity that we've seen in football at this point anyway, I mean, you saw the Colts take down the Steelers this weekend.
Yeah.
Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco. I know. The coaching did Anthony Richardson wrong. They pulled him because he hurt the hip and then turned right around and said, "Oh, you're good. Get back in there." And then the first play, he stepped and hurt the hip again.
That was just a weird, the slide and everything just didn't make sense to me. I was like, it's almost like he forgot how to slide or couldn't slide because of the hip already.
Yeah.
So he just went down and he just re-aggravated and made it worse. Yeah, that was kind of a bad move, especially for a young guy that's already injury prone.
Yeah.
You don't want that. That was a bad move. No. It was. I agree. But Joe Flacco, steps up in his absence and takes down the previously undefeated Steelers.
Well, I think Justin Fields helped them a little bit with a few turnovers.
I mean, yeah, but still, Justin Fields is still playing good football.
No, he played great.
I mean, he's.
They're
fortunate Russell Wilson got hurt because that's who you needed to start anyway, and why they even ever decided that Russell Wilson was going to be the guy to take the start at the beginning of the year was stupid. You bring along the guy that already has experience in the league.
Yep.
And he's young enough and he just needs a reboot, really.
Yeah.
And that's what you're giving him. Just let him go out there and see what you got. That's what Russell should have been was this is the back guy. This is the backup guy. This is the guy that we can fall back on if shit's hitting the fan and shit's not going well. Then we could fall back on Russ and put in a seasoned vet in there to just hopefully get us a couple W's.
I don't think Russ is getting any time. I think it's done.
Oh, it is. It's absolutely done. You can't tell me that Russell Wilson's going to get back. If you gave him the starting job, he's going to do a better job than Justin Fields.
I don't think he's going to.
No. No, it's not happening. Not happening.
So how long until Miami calls about him?
So I guess you're going to see what the neurologist says this week in terms of what Tua's got going on. I mean, honestly, if I'm Miami, I'm looking to move forward at this point. You have to.
I'm almost like.
But if I'm Miami, I'm calling Jameis Winston first. I'm calling about that first. I'm not looking at Russ. Russ is washed to this point, if you ask me.
How about Ryan Tannehill, who's just sitting there in free agency?
Yeah, I mean, if you want something free,
I mean, you don't have to give up anything for him.
You don't give anything up for him. You give him a 1-year deal and say, "Hey, come in here and take the reins. Let's see what we got." I mean, it comes full circle.
Yeah, it would. But I mean, I don't like anything they got. I mean,
But I mean, offensively, they got plenty of weapons. I mean, why wouldn't you throw Tannehill in there? Give me the seasoned vet with some talented. I mean, you got arguably the best wide receiver in the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've got a 2-headed monster at running back.
Yeah. I mean, you've got Hill, you've got Waddle.
Yeah, I mean, Waddle's nothing to scoff at all.
No.
I mean, even OBJ down there is still I mean, that's a solid number 3 guy, especially when you want to talk about like kind of having to give attention to somebody. I'm not saying he's anything near what he used to be.
No,
but he's a guy that can come in spurts and get you 3 or 4 catches, and he's going to get you 40 or 50 yards, and he's going to make you adjust the defense slightly.
Could he make? And he has that big play ability.
Yeah,
from your third wide receiver.
Well, he still can create space,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, it's not the same way it used to be. He's much older at this point, but his last year in LA when they won the Super Bowl, he was effective.
Yeah,
I don't think he's going to be that effective now. You saw him last year in Baltimore. He had a couple big moments, but nothing really crazy. And I think that's the same thing you would expect here in Miami. But at the same time, in Miami, he knows he's the third option.
Mm-hmm.
At least in the pass game. Actually, he's probably the 4th or 5th because Mostert and Achane are your both good receiving running backs.
Yeah. And Achane is getting better.
Yeah.
At it. Like that was something he struggled out early, but he's starting to put it together now. But
I mean when you're trying to be creative, and that's what Mike McDaniels does, is be creative.
Yeah.
You're going to throw the ball. You're going to throw the ball to your running backs a lot more than you're going to throw to your number 3 wide receiver.
Yeah. Yeah. You are. Speaking of which, Miami this weekend. What did they do?
They got smashed.
They got smashed because they got nobody, right?
Yeah, they lost on a bye week. But they lost, or no, they played last night.
Yeah, they played last night.
They lost to the Titans, 31-12.
Yeah.
Because Tyler Huntley's not that dude.
No. Lost to Mason Rudolph.
Yeah, I saw Levis went out. A shoulder injury?
Yeah, landed hard on the shoulder. I came in on
that
it
was
right
in what,
then.
the first quarter, second quarter? Beginning of the second quarter?
Yeah, it was
early.
Yeah, it was early in the game. I mean, I'm fine with Miami scoring 4 field goals. I had Miami's field goal kicker, so that put some points in my fantasy league. So I was fine with that.
That comes to taking the points when they're there.
Yeah.
At least they're doing that. I mean, otherwise that game could be ugly. It could be 31-0 or 31-3.
Yeah, but Mike McDaniels
ugly,
isn't one of those super cutesy guys like that. He's going to take his points every time.
No, I get it. I'm telling you, I wish I had it. Yeah, and then the Lions played a hell of a game yesterday. I mean, they dominated through the third quarter. Seahawks made it interesting towards the end, and then they decided they wanted to recreate the Philly special last night to cap that W.
Man, I saw a meme today that was talking about that and how Jared Goff has more touchdown catches than Jalen Waddle, Travis Kelce. There's a couple other big time wide receivers that both don't have any touchdowns yet. I'm trying to remember who the other two were, but it was like, oh, he has more touchdowns than these guys.
Yeah, and you're like, what? But
Yeah.
for Miami, for real, like that makes sense because they had no one throwing the ball. Jared Goff also had more touchdown catches than he had incompletions yesterday. Because Jared Goff was perfect through the air yesterday. No incompletions.
Did he really go no incompletions?
Yeah, no incompletions for Goff last night.
What? God. They had no incompletions as a team.
Because he caught the touchdown pass.
Yeah. I'm just saying. I mean,
every time the ball was in the air, they caught it.
they caught it.
That's nuts, isn't it?
That's insane.
Yeah. That's a phenomenal stat, right?
16.2 yards per attempt.
Yeah. No,
That's sick.
the Lions executed at a very high level last night and really put on a show for their home crowd.
Big time.
Tell you what was a little bit shocking to me was your Sunday night game. The Ravens and the Bills. Derrick Henry show finally showed up, and he showed up big for me in a big way because I have him in fantasy, and I needed every point from that man to win this week. Got the first win in that league.
Mm-hmm.
I've taken it on the chin though. I have the most points scored against me in our league.
Yeah.
It's quite a struggle. I think I have the 4th or 5th most points out of a 12-man league, but I have the most scored against me, and I'm sitting at 1-3. But thank you, Derrick Henry, for showing up finally. Showing up in the way I expected you to all year as my first-round draft pick. Those 32 points I got from you last night or Sunday night were huge.
I know. I wish my first-round draft pick would give me 32 points.
Who's your first round?
Bijan.
Oh, yeah. See, and speaking of Atlanta, for that matter, Kyle Pitts got me a huge goose egg.
Yeah.
Don't know why you didn't take that trade when I offered it.
That point right there.
But I offered the trade 2 weeks ago.
And I didn't take it then because I knew he hadn't done anything then. I still think Kirk Cousins is kind of struggling still.
He is struggling big time. You touched on it earlier.
Touched on it so bad, I'm thinking about making a move.
Yeah.
I can't deal with that. I need points from my quarterback.
Yeah.
I don't need 8.
Right. But back to this Ravens and Bills game.
Ooh.
The Bills, got stomped. And now you see this Ravens team this is the Ravens team we expected to see all year. You saw it early in the Dallas game. And, they realized they should have probably just, kept their foot on the gas and put their foot on the neck of Dallas instead of allowing them to claw back in. But when they pulled off in the second half offensively and just kind of, slowed the game down, it still allowed for Dallas to get back into that one. They didn't allow that to happen here.
This Baltimore team is, when they play like they did Sunday night,
I don't know if there's anybody that's going to beat them.
I don't know it either.
Because offensively they were sound. Defensively they were sound.
Mark Andrews was one of the other guys on that list.
Oh, well, Mark Andrews is not even the tight end that catches the football anymore. He's a blocker. He's playing tackle this year.
Isaiah Likely is fantastic, by the way.
He is. I'm just saying, what you're seeing right now, though, is, Mark Andrews is a tackle.
I think he's only got 6 catches all year so far.
But they're not using him the way they used to.
Mm-mm.
And they moved Likely to that role, and that's why you're seeing him so successful. But when you block as well as Mark Andrews does, that's the ultimate sacrifice, right?
Yeah.
To be known as a stud tight end.
And then say,
And
you know what?
We're going to change your role this year. You're not going to be the pass catcher, but you're gonna help this team win, and this is how you're gonna help us win.
They're paying him a pretty penny to do it.
I mean, but to be a good ass tackle, tackles make good money.
Yeah. Yes, they do.
So, but yeah, no, I mean that's just the way they've changed the offense, and you saw it. I mean, Derrick Henry was
beastly.
That was the Derrick Henry we were all scared of, and there he was. I mean, he showed it right from the get.
I didn't know this until this past weekend. He spends $250,000 on nutrition.
I mean,
and keeping his body right. He's doing the
LeBron James, Tom Brady thing.
The James Harrison model, like the massages, acupuncture, eating right. Like
stay out of those Deshaun Watson massages, and you're all right.
Oh yeah. Never mind. I'm not even gonna say it.
Why not, man? It was a little rip, dude.
I was gonna say that you can get the Deshaun Watson massages. You just can't force the Deshaun Watson massages.
Yeah, you definitely can't force those.
You know, you can't force it. If it happens naturally, whatever.
Yeah.
But
speaking of Deshaun Watson, he is a fucking garbage can. 24-32 this weekend for 176 yards. And the Browns are now 1-3 as they take an L to the Raiders.
And the sad part is they can't get out of it.
No, you're stuck with him.
I mean, you're paying that guy that much money. You have to play him.
What else are you gonna do?
I mean, you can't sit a dude making $45 million down.
I mean, you can.
I mean, you can.
I'd much rather see what Jameis has got now.
I would too. I'd be happy to see what Green's got. What is it? Is that his name? Dorian?
Oh, yeah. The UCLA kid.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just anybody but Watson. I mean, when do you make the move? Because when you see Carolina made a move off their number one overall pick.
Yeah. And it was an instant success. Granted, they lost this weekend, but the offense still looked better.
It still looks better, yeah. I mean, at least you're playing a brand of football that's going to turn into some kind of points and not as a goose egg, right?
Yeah.
So it makes too much sense for Cleveland to go ahead and make that move. I don't know why the move hasn't been made. You got a guy like Jameis Winston who is a certified gunslinger. Certified.
Yes.
Dude loves to throw the rock. Is he going to turn the ball over? Absolutely. But you're going to watch an exciting brand of football, and I guarantee you Jerry Jeudy and Amari Cooper are going to be two very happy dudes.
Dude, they would be happy because right now.
Oh, and you might get Nick Chubb back this week.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that. I'm not really liking that either, but whatever.
Why, you have Ford?
I do. I do. But, I mean, it would open up their running game. Like right now, Deshaun Watson doesn't scare anybody.
No.
And so they can load up on the box. And
because he can't even throw the ball.
No, he's awful. He's awful. Here's the sad part.
He's a shade of his current self.
Or
his past self. I mean, he's awful.
When you look at him, his body language, his facial expression, he just doesn't look like he's in it.
No, his demeanor's bad too.
Yeah.
He's just there collecting money. He's stealing money at this point.
He stole money the whole time he's been there.
I know. But, I mean, you got to sit him now. You got to. I mean, if Cleveland wants to change this season around.
Yeah.
Or
we need to see.
Here's what I got to say, though. Do not change it until after next week. Because I do want the Birds to have a shot here.
God, that would be awful.
Watch. That's when they make the move. They make the move when they play Philly.
No, that'll be the one game that he plays okay.
It could be, too. Yeah, that wouldn't shock me either. I'm hoping coming out of the bye, there's a huge difference. But
I think they're coming out of the bye. San Francisco did their usual.
Yeah, well, I mean,
beat up on weaker
team.
Opponent.
Yeah, because they can't play the good ones. I mean, but yeah, they took care of their business and got to 2-2. Good recovery from the let down the week before. The Chiefs struggled with the Chargers. I mean, they were down 10-0 early, And they did recover, and I mean the defense stepped up and didn't let them score anymore.
No, the defense. I watched that game, and they were the Chiefs defense was fantastic,
right,
from the second quarter on.
Right, but that's the thing. When the thing is though, you expect more than 17 points out of your offense when you have a Patrick Mahomes back there. And yeah, I get it. Rice went down in the first play of the game, so does that change things? Yeah, but why is Travis Kelce not Travis Kelce anymore?
I don't know. He looks off. Like, I don't know if I don't know. It's just not
Taylor Swift effect.
Maybe he just looks like he's not engaged.
Well, what is he now? He's 33, 34?
33, 34.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, he could have retired last year.
He could have, but I mean, he's 2 years younger than Jason. Jason retired this offseason.
Yep.
And I mean, he does play tight end. But I mean, Jason took more of a beating than Travis did his whole career.
Travis did become the all-time leader in reception for the Kansas City Chiefs this weekend.
That's not surprising. I mean, name somebody else that played for the Chiefs that would have more.
Well, the only person that I could have named is the person he beat, and that's Tony Gonzalez.
Right, exactly. That's
kind of crazy. They're two leading receivers or tight ends.
Right. But that's who I would have said. If you told me, like, before last week, who was the all-time leading receiver, I would have said Tony Gonzalez.
Yeah, it's Tony.
That would have been my guess. But, like, it is weird. They haven't had a wide receiver.
That just star wide receiver.
Right. Just in history.
Yeah, not one.
Yeah.
Not one.
And they continue.
I mean, I'm sure they've had some okay ones.
Yeah.
But they have to just be okay because I can't think of any of them.
Neither. That's what I'm saying. We touched on the Commanders putting up 42 on the Cardinals. I guess it is back to practicing for Call of Duty.
I think so.
Kyler Murray.
I think so.
Yeah, I think it is. He's getting ready. November's right around the corner, and we know what happens then.
Yes, sir, we do. We missing any other games?
No. We'll move on to the next week. Thursday night starts off with a NFC South matchup of the Bucs and the Falcons. Baker's playing at a high clip, man. Almost 1,000 yards already for the year, 8 tutties and 2 picks.
Lights out. Playing great.
Yeah, and if the Falcons are going to show anything, this is a W they need to get.
They have to get this W.
Yeah, this is a big one for them. They get the Bucs at home. Maybe you get them with the short. I mean, they're both playing a short week, but take advantage of the short week. Try to capitalize on that. Bucs coming off a big win, of course. So maybe bring them back down to reality. Right now, Atlanta's a 1.5-point favorite.
Got a London game next week?
Yes. The Jets and Vikings are playing across the pond.
Ugh.
Yeah, so Sunday we're going to start at 9:30 in the morning.
Terrible.
I agree.
Terrible.
Yep.
Now, I mean, what's sad is that it's not a terrible game. At least it's, they usually put like bad games over there.
Usually you get Jacksonville, right? Yeah, Jacksonville's over there. And right now, if you got Jacksonville, God, that is an awful team to watch. That team is god awful.
I don't know what their problem is. I
don't think of everything. I mean, I haven't paid too much attention, but the little bit of things I've heard and just read about, it really comes down to execution. Trevor Lawrence just does not look the same. Like he might be hurt.
I've been watching
the arm doesn't look the same. I'm telling you, I think he might be hurt.
I don't think Jacksonville has any weapons either. I think Leeds and Ridley was bad.
Well, that was stupid. Like that was a must re-sign, and we talked about this before. You had to keep Ridley. Ridley was your number one wideout. Why would you let him walk and not replace him with anything?
Replace him with nothing.
Nothing. ETN's not really the guy that we thought he would pan out to be.
Well, ETN, it's hard to run the ball when you can't pass the ball.
Well, yeah. I mean, you're not opening things up. Play action's not effective.
Nope.
There's a lot that does. Yeah, I get it.
I mean, kind of goes hand in hand there,
right.
Unfortunately.
That's true. But at the same time, I mean, you establish a run early in a game make them load the box, and then start trying to take some shots outside.
Yep.
Change up the game plan a little bit. Do something different because, I mean, it is awful to watch. The Jets and the Vikings, Minnesota, in London.
Yep.
It's a Vikings home game, essentially, but a 2.5-point favorite for Minnesota going in. This would be a good test for Darnold.
Yeah.
You get
It'd
this
be the best
Jets
defense.
Yeah, this would be one of the best defenses he's played all year.
Yep.
I'd like to see how that one goes. So that'd be some must-watch football to start off your Sunday morning. The Panthers get to go see what they could look like as they play the Bears this weekend.
Caleb hasn't really impressed me at all.
They won last week.
They won.
I mean,
They won.
Caleb's not the reason. That defense is a lot of the reason. Last weekend was Swift. DeAndre Swift had his breakout game last weekend.
Yeah.
DeAndre Swift was that dude for them.
I mean, I feel like they're kind of forcing Caleb to be the guy. I mean, 2 weeks ago, he threw the ball 52 times.
Right. That was ridiculous, right?
Yeah. I mean, come on.
Yeah. And then, but like I said, this is Panthers are going to see what they could have looked like.
Yeah.
And at least they would have had some high hopes for the future. Right now, no sir.
I don't know, dude. If I'd have been the Panthers, I'd took Jaden. I still would take him number one.
You mean the Bears?
Well, if the Panthers and the Bears hadn't traded.
Right, yeah. No. See, that's the thing, though. The Panthers could have had Jaden Daniels. I mean, they would have probably made the mistake and gone Caleb Williams, too.
Yeah.
But imagine the Bears with Jaden Daniels.
From what I've seen, I would have liked it a lot better.
Dude, I'm just telling you, this offense would be clicking. It would be stupid.
I mean, the
It'd be
Bears have
stupid.
more weapons than the Skins.
Washington,
or
yeah.
Washington does.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that would be nuts. I'm just telling you, you're talking. I mean, we're already talking about Jaden Daniels possibly being an MVP candidate as a rookie, but we're talking about giving him the weapons that Chicago would hand off to him. Oh my God, dude, it could have been a world of difference there in Chicago, at least early on. Caleb's still, year 1, 4 games in. It's not overreact, but early on, God, imagine he's already kind of hidden out there in Washington, so now that he doesn't get talked about so much. But if the Bears started off with him,
Yeah.
I can't imagine just the amount of press coverage that the kid would be getting because Caleb Williams is getting it.
Yep.
Ravens travel to Cincinnati. Cincinnati's defense is awful.
Yeah.
I would not be shocked to see Lamar combine for 250 yards, another 100-yard game from Derrick Henry. This might be the game where, if Cincinnati wants to turn around the season, this is really it. You weren't super impressive against Carolina last week.
They look better. They looked a lot better.
Sure.
But not super impressive.
No. It's not what you expect out of Joe Burrow. It's not what you've come to expect from the Cincinnati offense at all. And you brought T. Higgins back.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know you give it a couple more weeks. Let's see what we're working with, but it doesn't look good. We're probably talking a 1-4 start for the Bengals. The Ravens are going to come in, and I think they're going to run away with this one by at least 2 touchdowns.
What's the spread? 2.5?
Spread is 2.5 Baltimore. Definitely covered.
Yeah, I
They're
kind of like that. I like that.
Yeah, that's my parlay. That's in my parlay for sure. And then we talked about the Thursday night game. That was the 1.5 for Atlanta.
Yeah.
I don't like that either.
I don't like that.
Yeah. So
I might would take the Bucks plus 1.5.
yeah. Patriots are at home against the Dolphins. They're actually a 1-point favorite. The over/under of this game is 35.5. I'm thinking under.
I like the under on it, to be honest.
35.5 under. What do you got?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Either team, nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah, I like the under on that.
I really do. The Browns travel to D.C. to play the Commodes.
to see what he does against a decent defense or what should be a decent defense.
It'll be a good defense. I mean, that's the one thing that the Browns can hang their hat on is how well they play defensively. Washington's a 3.5-point favorite. This is a test for Jaden Daniels. Let's see how he does. I'll be interested to see how that goes. But I mean, really, my money, I'd put it on Washington to cover.
Yeah, because the Browns can't do anything offensively. It just takes 10
But
points.
that's the thing. If they were going to do anything offensively, this is the defense to do it against because the Commanders, that's one thing they don't do well right now is play defense. So the Browns are going to
played pretty good defense last weekend.
Yeah.
14 points against Arizona is not terrible.
No, true. Colts and Jaguars. Ooh. Jacksonville's a 3-point favorite. Why? They're 0-4. I know they're at home. Colts are coming off a win.
I'm taking the
taking
Colts.
I'm taking the Colts on money line too. Right?
Yeah.
Gotta take a money line.
I mean, Richardson's not playing, right?
Probably not. I wouldn't assume he would. I think he's going to get the rest. So you got to give me the Colts and Flacco. Let's see what we get. Bills travel to the Texans, both 3-1. Bills coming off a rough loss. I think C.J. Stroud is the leading passer in the league right now with almost 1,100 yards.
Because they throwing it, sir. They throwing it.
They slinging it. They are 3-1. They haven't done it in very convincing fashion, but they're 3-1.
Yeah, I mean, they're picking up essentially right where they left off last year. They're still kind of rolling.
They are.
They're still young. I mean, the fact that they're super young. I mean, I know Green Bay has the youngest team in the league.
Yeah.
But I got to imagine.
Texans got to be the second.
They got to
right
be
up
right
there.
there.
Top 5.
Yeah.
Easy.
Got to be.
Yeah, you're talking about a Bills team who's going to want to come in and correct themselves from the week before. Really probably hit the reset button after last week. Buffalo is a point favorite here in Houston. I'm probably not touching this one. That's so unpredictable. And as most of the league has been, this will probably be the week the Jags win.
There's a chance.
Yeah. Raiders are traveling to play their AFC foe Broncos in Denver this week. Denver's a 3-point favorite. The over-under of this one's also 35.5. Talking about two pretty good defenses.
Yep.
And
horrible
minuscule.
Horrible offense. You can say it. You can say it. They're bad.
Yeah.
Two bad offenses.
They're bad.
Found this on the web.
Oh, look at you with your phone going off.
I don't know what that was.
Yeah. So,
it was Google.
Yeah, Denver's a 3-point favorite. I like Denver at home here. The Raiders haven't really shown anything offensively outside of beating the Ravens in week 2.
I still don't know how they pulled that off.
I don't either because they just played so poor,
Just awful.
Yeah.
Just awful.
Cardinals travel to San Francisco this week. 7.5-point favorite are your Niners there. So
they'll probably cover.
Yeah, I think they're going to cover. The Cardinals have just looked abysmal since that week 1 performance.
Sounds like McCaffrey's not going to be back for a while.
Yeah, no, it's some kind of bacteria or something that's causing the Achilles issues.
Yeah, something crazy.
Yeah, it's something weird, something they haven't wanted to disclose, and that's.
I've been seeing a lot of
if you had the first pick in your fantasy football draft, I hear you.
Oh,
it sucks.
I made that pick for a friend.
Oh, it's upgraded.
Yeah, upgraded a little.
All right, but yeah, so. Yeah, the fantasy football players with CMC definitely disappointed with that news.
Yep.
We're probably looking at a November start date for this guy at this point, if at all this year, really.
I mean, honestly, if you can win and you can win that division.
Well, you got Jordan Mason. He's operating at a high clip, man.
Yeah, he's playing fine. He's playing great.
447 yards through 4 games.
Playing fine. Just fine.
Yeah, he's doing just fine. I mean, he's probably not performing at the level like a CMC would, but he's filling in nicely, and they're taking care of business with him at the running back position. So it's held down for sure.
I don't think he's the weapon as a pass catcher that CMC is.
Yeah.
But running, I don't think they're really missing a beat with him. But,
Not at all. Got the Packers at the Rams.
Rams are struggling right now. But, I mean, they are injury-riddled.
They are. And, I mean, even when they were injury-riddled and beat the Niners, it's like, okay, maybe the Rams are all right. But now we're looking at them, and it's like, now we're seeing the true form. And we're seeing what the effect these injuries have on them.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough. And, McVay's a good coach. There's only so much you could do without, your top 3 wide receivers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was Oklahoma going into Auburn this weekend. They didn't have their top 5 wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
That's like, ooh.
Yep. Then you have the fighting Daniel Joneses against the Seahawks this weekend. Seahawks are a 6-point favorite at home. Run with that. That's free money.
Yeah.
Yeah, Seahawks are going to clobber Daniel Jones, especially a 4:25 kickoff on the West Coast. The Giants are going to get embarrassed, and probably no neighbors.
I got to imagine that Brian Dayball's pretty much on the hot seat, too. I got to imagine he's going to be gone.
That thing's on fire, man. Yeah.
I got to imagine he's going to be gone.
Yeah. Your Sunday night matchup is the Cowboys at the Steelers. Steelers looking to bounce back. They're a 2.5-point favorite. I mean, really, with the way Dallas has played,
I don't see it.
I think the Steelers' defense has been legit. Like, if they get enough pressure on Dak and rattle him earlier, and the game's in Pittsburgh, like,
yeah,
it's gonna be. I see the Steelers taking this one and probably covering.
Well, what I'm, not that I'm a huge Cowboy fan, and not that it hurts my feelings to watch them struggle, but where they're struggling is they can't run the ball. They're very one-dimensional.
Well, who's going to run the ball? Zeke's old.
Yeah.
So
Zeke's old. I still don't know. And, I'm glad that he's where he ended up. I don't know why they didn't go after Derrick Henry.
Yeah. I just don't think they could afford it.
No, but you can give Dak $60 million. I don't know, man. It's just they can't run the ball. I think Pittsburgh beats the wheels off of them, to be honest, defensively. I mean, I don't care if Pittsburgh.
So you're saying beats the brakes off them, like think the Ravens, but actually finish it out?
Yeah,
that'd be impressive.
I mean, would you not say Pittsburgh's defense better than Baltimore's?
At this moment, yeah. But last week I saw what they did to Buffalo, and I'm like, I might be convinced the Ravens have got good defense now.
Yeah, the Ravens' defense is good. I'm not saying they're not.
Yeah.
But I just...
No, I mean, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, I mean, this if there's a breakout game for Najee Harris, it's this one.
Yeah.
Because
you can run on them.
Yeah, Cowboys can't stop the run. And that's what the Ravens did. They ran the ball down their throat.
Yeah.
One Monday night game this week.
Thank God.
Yeah. Saints at the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes has been mediocre. 904 yards, 6 touchdowns, 5 picks.
I think still a lot of that is just, I don't know. I don't know what a lot of it is. I think
they're 4-0.
They're 4-0, but they're not winning like.
They're lucky.
Yeah.
They're very fortunate in a lot of these games.
Yeah.
Very fucking fortunate.
Honestly, I think the refs gave them the Atlanta game.
Absolutely.
That was pass interference in the end zone all day long.
I mean, but the thing was, they got the exact same call the week before. So they didn't call it.
Yeah.
Or they did call it.
No, it didn't look nearly as egregious.
Well,
like
yeah,
it looked like both of them were going for the ball and then kind of bumped where like the play in the end zone against Atlanta, the defender never turned around. He ran straight through Kyle Pitts.
Yeah. It would have actually been a Kyle Pitts touchdown.
Yeah, it would have. But I mean, they're very lucky to be 4-0.
Oh, I agree.
Honestly, they probably should be 2-2.
I think, yeah, when you look back at these games, definitely a 2-2 record is very feasible. Kansas City's a 5-point favorite. Give me the Saints covering. I don't know if they'll necessarily win, but I will say the Chiefs' defense is good, as we saw after the first quarter last week. Chiefs can take care of business.
Chris Jones is a monster, by the way.
He's been a monster his whole career.
I mean,
yeah.
It was him sitting out last year, that first game, watching them lose.
And then they were like, you need me.
Yeah. I thought it was great that he was there in the stands. He was there in a box watching.
Of course. Why not?
Yeah.
Over to college football. We had some big upsets this week.
Did?
I mean, I'm just going to go ahead and pump it. My Kentucky Wildcats took down Ole Miss down there in Oxford.
Their first win in Oxford since, 1978?
77.
Or something like that. It's been a long time.
It's their biggest road biggest road win since the 70s. To beat a team as highly ranked as Ole Miss was at 6. It really sucks when you look at this Kentucky team now and you go back to that South Carolina game, because this team is so much better than what that was on the field then. And it's like, because they hung with Georgia. They had a shot to beat Georgia.
Yeah. And
then they beat this Ole Miss team.
Yeah.
And this could be a 3-1 team or even a 5-0 team. And it just, that South Carolina blemish is going to really hurt this team. But I talked to my brother this week about it, and we're like, man, what if Kentucky does win out, right? Kentucky wins out. Because, Georgia did prove that they could hang with anybody, and they could put points on the board because they did it to Bama.
Yeah.
Now, is that part of Bama kind of taking the foot off the gas? And I've said that 3 times now, which I hate using the same terminology.
Man, but, it's a truth though.
Yeah, but did they? And that's what allowed Georgia to kind of get back into it. But they took the lead, and that's what I hate about when you try to slow down a game or you change your game plan to not lose.
Well, you and I were texting about it.
Continue to beat the shit out of them.
We were texting about it, and we were like, wow, it's Alabama, is Alabama this much better?
Right.
And Georgia just not as good as we thought they were?
Right.
Or,
I thought this was the Georgia revenge tour. And
no.
It did not look like it at all the first 2.5 quarters of that game.
Good job at Kellen DeBoer. Yeah. Holding his team together.
Yeah. That Ryan Williams touchdown was huge. That landed me a huge parlay, by the way. I needed that. That
Ryan Williams touchdown, and then the fact that he posted
the post, he changing the whole Twitter profile pic
to Michael Vick holding the dog. That is one of the coldest things.
This kid's dog. Mascot's in the way.
The mascot has got me. But yeah, that is one of the funniest things I have seen in a long
time. Kid's a freshman, a true freshman doing that.
17 years old.
I know.
17 years old and just like, damn.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Putting them on him. Yeah.
But yeah,
yeah, so we I know we're talking about the Bama and Georgia game, and that was a hell of a matchup.
But sorry, it's what we do. We get off track a little bit.
No, it's great. I could touch more on the Kentucky game. They won.
I know.
That's what happened. They won in Oxford, and I couldn't be happier. Now the thing is I don't want us to lose a game we should win. So we got to bye this week, and then the Cats play Vandy the following week, right? Don't take this L. Do not take that L. prove that you are a program that's going to win the games you're supposed to win, which South Carolina was supposed to be one of those.
Yeah, but South Carolina actually looks.
They do. Yes.
They look a lot better than I thought they were going to be.
Yeah, and I wish Kentucky would get an opportunity to play them again to kind of right that wrong, but it doesn't look like that. Well, that's just not in the cards. It's actually impossible. With that, I was talking to my brother about this because that's where we got off topic.
Yep.
Was, let's say Kentucky ends up running the table at this point. That means they're going to get a win at Texas, number 1 team in the nation. I'm not saying they can't. I'm not saying it's going to
Texas
happen.
number 2, by the way.
They dropped?
Yeah.
So Bama moved up.
Bama's number 1.
That makes sense.
Which I get.
You beat the number 2 team in the nation handily for the most part.
Yeah.
So makes sense. And you overcome a 34-33 deficit late in that game to take the W. So that's big. We talk about what's the other game? They have another tough one on the schedule. Tennessee.
You got Tennessee. Yeah, they still got Tennessee.
You beat a Texas and you beat a Tennessee, right? You got to put them in the playoffs with that, right?
I would think they would get in the playoffs with that.
Because let's say Georgia still runs the table. They got 1 loss and they beat Kentucky head to head in the division. That makes sense, right? They're not going to play an SEC title game, but Kentucky would finish the year at 10-2.
10-2.
With wins over Texas on the road and Tennessee, as well as Ole Miss.
Yep.
3 top 10 opponents.
No, I think they would get in.
You got to get in. It's 12 teams at this point, right?
I think they would get in.
It's a huge hypothetical because let's be real. Going to Texas and taking a W, I doubt it. Now, will they be competitive? Possibly, because you saw what they did with Georgia.
Yeah.
They held Georgia to the lowest points they're going to have all year, probably.
Georgia struggled that game. Georgia's had time where their offense looks a little.
Kentucky's defense is legit.
Yeah.
Because I told you, but what did I say before this game? You asked me, Ole Miss is going to cover 17.5, right? I was like, absolutely.
Yeah.
And after seeing them battle with Georgia and battle with Ole Miss the way they did, and Ole Miss on the road, and holding them to 17 points alone, they wouldn't have covered if Kentucky didn't even score.
Nope. It was 15.5. It was 15.5.
I made a valid fucking point and you screwed it up.
No, I mean, it's still it's still fucking ridiculous. I mean, Ole Miss came in as one of the higher scoring teams in the country.
I mean, that's what Lane Kiffin's known for, is a high scoring offense.
Yeah.
So you hold them to 17 points on their home field. That's huge. That's huge.
Lane in the press conference, he was salty.
Oh, he was big salty. He's like, Bob Stoops never done something like that before. It's like, all right, Lane, go ahead and be big mad. I get it.
He's straight up. He started, but he's right. Stoops doesn't do that. Stoops went outside his wheelhouse.
He did. But that's not the time to say it.
It is if you're Lane Kiffin.
Well, it is Lane Kiffin, and that's why we miss so many of the former head coaches in the SEC.
I did. I know. Rest in peace, Mike Leach.
Yeah, Mike Leach, dude, gave the best press conferences of all time.
Dude, I showed somebody the other week. We were talking about something, and he was talking about a coach or something saying that. I'm like, that's nothing. Wait till you hear the sound bites of a coach telling that his players are too busy hanging out with their fat girlfriends and eating fish sandwiches. You're like, what?
What? There's a press conference out there like that?
Yes.
Hold on. Let me send you the link. I got it.
He talks about his players hanging out with their fat girlfriends a lot. He has said it more than once.
Yep.
Just like, dang, dude.
Speaking of game we talked about last week was Penn State and Illinois. And this is Illinois for real? And is that Penn State defense for real? And we checked the box for Penn State defense for sure.
Yes, sir, we did.
They held that Illinois offense to 7 points. They scored early, and they didn't score again. And Penn State covered because Penn State – no, wait, they didn't cover. It was 21.5, wasn't it?
I think so.
Yeah. So Penn State didn't cover, but we were shocked that it was a huge spread
Yeah.
against Illinois. We're like, why is that spread so high?
Yeah.
It might have been that or 17.5, somewhere in there. Maybe that's where I got confused. Anyways, Penn State took care of business. They did it at home, granted. Now, had that game been painted champagne, that might have been a little bit different.
A little different.
Penn State 4-0 in the Big Ten.
I've been really,
Let's see what happens when they play the big dogs.
yeah, they got to start playing guys in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
I mean,
But, Illinois was a formidable foe, and that's one that you want to take down, especially when they're ranked 19th in the nation and have proven to be pretty solid team going forward, or at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Oregon took care of UCLA. Not
Yeah.
much to touch on. Fuck Ohio State. We're not talking about them.
yep.
Utah took an L this week, and that's what we talked about earlier. We were like, woo.
Yeah.
And, they took it handily, too.
It's Arizona played well. I did not see that coming.
No.
You know, but
we
I don't
talked
think
about Big 12 football, and we're like, Big 12 champ is probably going to be Utah.
it's still probably going to be Utah.
There's still a chance. That was a shock. It was a shock to me.
Yeah.
I did not see Arizona taking care of business here, and on the road, mind you.
Yeah. That was I don't know, man.
Michigan almost fucked up their game.
Catch of the year happened in that game.
Right? Yeah, that was
By far, there's not a catch that's going to beat that, or
Yeah.
that had beat that yet.
No, it's not. It's gonna be tough. But yeah, Michigan was beating the shit out of Minnesota, and then something happened in that fourth quarter that
Minnesota, it's like, hey, we can play now.
it's like, hold on, let me check in.
Yeah, and it went that way.
Yeah. It got close there towards the end, and then of course the big catch. If you haven't seen it, definitely go back and check it out. It's a phenomenal catch. SB award winner probably.
It was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Yes.
Like I didn't, I wasn't watching the game live, but like they came in with the game break on it, and you're just like, what?
He made that?
He caught that?
Yeah.
No, not allowed to catch stuff like that.
USC handled Wisconsin this weekend. LSU handled South Alabama as expected. One of the best matchups of the weekend was Notre Dame and Louisville. I'm not pulling for anybody except a sinkhole in that game.
That is the truth for you. It is.
I know you were probably pulling for Louisville. I was pulling for the sinkhole. Notre Dame was handling business earlier, and I loved it. I was like, "Yeah, you fucktards, you're getting hammered."
Yeah.
And it got a lot closer towards the end of the game.
It did.
Yeah.
Clemson's starting to look like Clemson again.
Yes, they're putting on points everywhere right now. The offense is clicking. Klubnik is.
Apparently,
he's
he actually
executing.
can play quarterback.
Yeah, last year you're like, huh? But now, Clemson looks good. The early falter, they've overcome very, very well.
Yeah. While we're kind of on the ACC for a second, we kind of skipped the game, and I think it's very important. Did the refs screw Virginia Tech?
Ooh, yeah, that was the Thursday or Friday night game.
It was a Thursday night game.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
I think so too. I think it was a catch.
Yeah, I think with the game that has replay available to you now, it's no reason to fuck up a call.
They took 6 minutes
I know.
to overturn it, but there is an angle where it doesn't look like he came all the way down with it, and it's a little loose.
Indisputable evidence.
That's my point. I don't think they had it.
Yeah, I don't think because it's disputable. We're disputing it right now.
I don't. It's, and it makes me wonder if it's the ACC trying to keep the undefeated team out there.
I think that was part of the case there.
Not that Miami's a terrible team.
No, but Virginia Tech's looking for a big win.
Yeah, not looking. They had it.
You're talking about one of the most rabid fan bases too. It's a tough one to take from them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think part of that 6-minute phone call or review was a phone call to
A phone call from the ACC offices.
Yeah,
He didn't catch that.
yeah, you did not catch that.
You're going to overturn that because we're trying to get at least 2 teams in.
Yeah, we need a presence in this new playoff of ours here.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. So back to the ACC. Clemson handled business. We talked about how bad Houston is. Iowa State ran away with that one 20-0.
Yep.
Another Big 12 matchup was Kansas State and Oklahoma State. We talked about it last week. This was one that we thought Oklahoma State really needed.
And they didn't get it done.
They did not. Kansas State had a home field advantage like no other. If you haven't got a chance to see some of the just highlights and stuff, like what you can hear in the background, Kansas State put on a show for that game. It was a very electric atmosphere, to say the least. Oklahoma took care of business at Auburn, but as you had mentioned earlier, Auburn was struggling there.
Yeah. Oklahoma was missing their top 5 wide receivers.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Excuse me.
And they still squeaked it out.
They still squeaked it out, yeah. But, Hugh Freeze said some bullshit at the end of that game. Hugh Freeze came out and said, well, shouldn't be all excited because you knew what we had to start over with here. And it's like, dude, why are you going to shit on the guys that are there right now?
Dude.
You're saying, I've got a turd roster. I've got to fix this.
Well, he did have a turd roster. He does have to fix it.
But I get it, but you don't say it now. You don't say, oh, the only reason we lost is because I took over this shit show.
Well, first of all, look who we're talking about.
It is Hugh Freeze. I mean, he's not really the most
No.
Of Christian of men.
No. I mean, damn. Only thing Hugh Freeze is needing, he just needs to hire, what's his name as his offensive coordinator?
Bobby Petrino?
Yep.
No, Bobby Petrino is doing things at Arkansas again as the offensive coordinator. Not good enough, though, as A&M knocked them off. Baylor and BYU had a tough one. BYU was scoring points all over the place to start the game and then really kind of went cold late.
They gave up some touchdowns, but they were up on them. BYU is surprising.
Yeah, 5-0, man.
Surprising. There's a couple of surprising undefeated teams. I think Indiana's 5-0.
Not after this weekend, right? Or were they? I mean, we can. I'm just looking at the top 25.
They're just looking at the top 25. They'd be ranked at 5-0.
Let's see here. You are correct. Indiana did beat Maryland this weekend. They are 5-0. But, I mean, if you look at their first 5 games.
I mean, they ain't played nobody. I understand it.
They are number 23 in the nation now. They played Florida International, Western Illinois. Did not know Western Illinois existed as a college.
Well, it's a college, and they beat the brakes off.
77-3 is quite damning. They played at UCLA, who lost everything last year.
Yep.
They played Charlotte, who we know is abysmal.
Yep.
And Maryland, and we predicted Maryland to be at the bottom of the Big Ten to begin this year.
Yeah, but I mean, I didn't think Indiana was going to be 5-0.
No, I wouldn't. I mean,
granted, they haven't played anybody.
Let's say we go back. We're saying 4-1 is not really out of the realm of possibility by looking at the beginning of this. Looking at this schedule here. Even Indiana being as bad as they traditionally are. That's kind of predictable because it's set up.
Yeah.
Now let's see where they end the year, right? I mean, they do go to Northwestern. That'd be somewhat difficult. I mean, Northwestern's 2-2 on the year. Yep. But then you go to
Nebraska at home.
Nebraska comes in, and I guarantee you that ain't going to be easy.
No, that ain't going to be easy. Nebraska.
That's going to be a test right there. Washington's 3-2. You're going to get that test. You go on the road at Michigan State. And Michigan State, mediocre this year. They're not going to very pedestrian, right?
Yeah.
But the end of this schedule is where it gets rough because you have Michigan and Ohio State.
Back-to-back weeks.
You can enjoy that win at Purdue or against Purdue. They actually come to Bloomington.
Yeah.
So
But it's just, who knew?
But no. I mean, but looking at that schedule, there's a solid reason why.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and Nebraska took care of Purdue as expected this weekend as well. Don't know why I even pointed that one out. Cover a little bit more SEC, and then we'll move on to games next week. Texas handled Mississippi State, no problems. Actually, we talked about all those games.
Well, the coming out of Arch Manning.
Yeah, man, Arch Manning looks like the part, though. But Brock Ewers is slated to come back next week. So, you got to make the move, right? You go back to Ewers.
Yeah, you go back to Ewers. He was your guy coming in.
He was your guy coming in, and he did nothing to lose the job except get hurt.
Yep.
Yeah.
I got a question for you, though.
Okay.
Semi-SEC related. Is Milroe the Heisman Trophy front runner at the moment?
After this weekend's performance, yes.
Him or Cam Ward? I think that's it's.
Yeah,
I
Cam
think
Cam Ward's a good one. Cam Ward's definitely up there for it. Yeah, who else would you say though?
I don't know. Right offhand, nothing is jumping out at me.
You'd probably say Ewers if he was healthy.
If he had played the last 2 games.
Yeah, if he had been healthy and been playing.
I don't think he's out of it.
No, not at all.
If Texas comes out and runs the table.
Exactly. We got to talk about Gabriel in Oregon's been playing well.
Yeah, not terrible.
I'm not saying he's MVP candidate by any means, but Oregon's 4-0 to start the year. Speaking of, they play Friday night. They get Michigan State. They're a 24-point favorite.
You still got it on the Big Ten.
Yeah. Then we have speaking of, we didn't even touch about the UNLV quarterback.
No, we did not.
UNLV's 4-0.
Yeah. And their quarterback walked.
He entered the transfer portal early.
Him and the running back.
Yeah. Because apparently, and of all places, this is weird. You have NIL deals in place and you're not paying them out. How can you not afford it in Las Vegas?
It's not even super big deals.
No, that's the thing, though. That's what it's crazy. You have a team that's in the top 25. You've got a performing running back and quarterback, starting running back and quarterback. Both walk because
you're not paying them.
You're not living up to your end of the bargain.
It's $100,000.
I guarantee you, Caesars will walk him that in cash.
Yeah. You can't tell me they don't have.
He's right. Caesars is down the street.
I know. All of them right down the street.
The Bellagio, all of them can come together and make this happen.
Dude,
all places that are not going to pay it out. There's a booster down there that will go win it on the craps table in fucking 15 minutes.
Dana White loses that every time he plays back.
It's so crazy how someone will go make that money in 15 seconds. You can make it real fast.
Yeah.
Just go do it.
Yeah.
You might lose it real fast too, but the thing is, you have a shot. There's plenty of pockets in fucking Vegas. They can pay out this deal.
Yeah. Well, it's the whole deal breaker from the NCAA college football game immediately.
I sent you that meme. And it's like, we saw a deal breaker happen in real life.
We did. It happened, and it is there, and it is horrible. Shame on you, UNLV.
Yeah,
and they're trying to say it's not that. I'm like,
what else would it be?
Okay, what's their problem? Oh, we paid. No, you ain't.
Obviously not, because if you paid them, I guess he's sticking around, right? They're undefeated.
Yeah,
they're playing high level football right now.
Yeah, potential group of 5 playoff contenders.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me.
No.
They got Syracuse this weekend. They're 7-point favorites in Vegas. Take Syracuse.
Yeah.
Take Syracuse. Absolutely take Syracuse. This is going to be a lit down, and it's a karma game for UNLV.
Yeah.
Karma game. Take Syracuse.
Yep.
Cover. Penn State, 28-point favorite against UCLA in College Station or College Park.
I think Penn State can cover that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I like it.
I'm going to jump on it. You know how I feel about stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. Missouri and A&M at College Station.
Man.
A&M's a 2-point favorite. Mizzou has been lucky.
Yeah.
I don't think Missouri played last week, though. So they are rested. But like we said, they've struggled to get to that 4-0.
Yeah.
They're 4-0. But I haven't seen them prove that they're the number 9 team in the nation.
No, they haven't.
A&M's going to have an electric atmosphere. That's a tough place to fucking win.
A noon kickoff, too. I like it.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to take A&M -2.
Yeah, I take the 2 points. Yeah, maybe by half. I actually don't need to buy half a point.
I'm going to take
Buy a
2.
point. Maybe buy a point there. Well, if you're taking them 2, I'm confusing myself. Why would I make it 3?
Yeah. I'm
Sell a point is what I'm trying to say because they'll win by more than 3. Let's see. Louisville is looking to recover against the new ACC team, Southern Methodist.
What's the spread? 7?
Spread is 7.
I'm taking SMU +7.
SMU's 4-1.
They're a solid team.
Let's see their schedule. I do not know. They've played Nevada.
I know this doesn't say much,
Houston
but they just beat
Christian.
the brakes off of Florida State.
That doesn't mean shit to me. They did play a very close game with BYU. It was 18-15.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's not a bad move. That's not a bad move. But Louisville's coming off that loss to Notre Dame. I'm not touching that one. Over under on this one's fun though. 56.5. Yeah, don't touch that. Stay clear. Ohio State is hosting Iowa this week.
And they're a 20.5-point favorite.
20.5-point favorite.
I might take Iowa plus 20.5 and the under.
Definitely the under because they do play some defense for sure. Auburn travels to Georgia. Georgia, of course, coming off the heartbreaker. Georgia is a 24-point favorite at home with an over-under of 53.5. I like Georgia as a 24-point favorite.
Yeah, Georgia's going to smash them.
Yeah. Ole Miss is going to recover against South Carolina. Speaking of, this is a hell of a way to watch this one because I would love for Kentucky to get another shot at South Carolina. South Carolina is hosting Ole Miss after, of course, the loss. Ole Miss is going to recover in a big way. They're a 9-point favorite.
Ole Miss is going to cover.
I think they're going to cover because I don't think South Carolina's defense is that good. Speaking of, we talked about earlier, Indiana's on the road at Northwestern there in Chicago or Evanston, Illinois. They play that weird stadium that Northwestern's playing at.
I know.
Yeah, Indiana's a 14-point favorite here. That's probably not bad. I'm not touching it, though. Your new number 1 team in the nation is on the road at Vandy. We talked about this before the show because we're like, yeah, we're all over this. Bama's a 23-point favorite. They're covering.
I'm covering. They're covering. I'm in.
They're covered. I mean, that's going to be another home field game or home field advantage for Alabama in Asheville, right?
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah.
Clemson on the road at Florida State. Clemson's only a 14.5-point favorite. Let's go ahead and parlay right here. Clemson's going to whoop the shit out of State.
You think?
Florida State. Oh, yeah.
I mean, if SMU did, Clemson should be able to.
Clemson's going to, and the over-under is 47.5 over. Clemson's going to cover it themselves.
Florida State, God.
Yeah, 1-4. Started the year top 5.
Well, they say there's always a team that starts in the top 10 that finishes unranked.
Yep. Well,
we know who that team is this year. It's already been there.
Yeah. Clemson is going to smash.
It would take them running out the table to come back and be ranked.
Yes.
And there ain't no way.
But they're 1-3 in the ACC now. They're not even going to play for probably an ACC title. At this
No, they're done.
Yeah, if they ran the table. Utah State at Boise State. Boise State is the 21 ranked team in the nation at 3-1. Boise State's a 27-point favorite.
I'd probably jump on that. Utah State's horrible.
Yeah, we talked about how bad they were going to be this year. Tennessee at Arkansas. This one will probably be closer than most would like to believe. Tennessee is a 13.5-point favorite. I think they probably cover, but it'll probably be later on in that game where they do cover. I don't think it's going to be a runaway shit show to begin. Michigan at Washington. Michigan's going to cover. Washington's a 2.5-point favorite.
How's that?
7:30 West Coast game, maybe. It's in Seattle.
Man. Tell me I can get Michigan and 2.5 points.
Yeah. That's spelling parlay.
Yeah, that's you're telling me top 10 Michigan is getting 2.5 points
on the road against unranked Washington. And Washington, we talked about to begin the year, is like they're going to struggle.
They're going to.
They are struggling. They're 3-2. This is not the same Washington that was in the finals last year.
I'm taking Michigan plus 2.5.
Yeah, me too. I'm right there with you. Go ahead and get me with that with the Bama and the Georgia game. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. USC on the road at Minnesota. USC's only an 8-point favorite. Damn.
After what I seen Minnesota do last week, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a tough one. They can put points on the board quick. So they have the possibility of doing it. And USC is so unpredictable anyway. That one probably going to steer clear of. Baylor's on the road at Iowa State. Iowa State's an 11.5-point favorite. I just don't like messing with Big 12 football right now. Iowa State is 4-0. And the last late game on the West Coast, mind you. These are the ones that we talked about being kind of funky.
Yeah.
10:30 West Coast game in Berkeley. Miami at California. Miami's a 10-point favorite. Miami squeaked one out against Virginia Tech.
If you want to call this squeaking.
Cal's 3-1. This is 1:30 Eastern Coast time in the morning. Kickoff.
That's 10:30.
You're gonna give me Cal and 10 points? Give me Cal and 10 points.
Yeah, I'd probably take Cal and 10. Who has Cal played?
Yeah, they've played 4 games. They played UC Davis, Auburn, San Diego State, and they did lose to Florida State.
I'm taking Miami. minus 10. Taking Miami minus 10. They only put up 9 points against Florida.
That's a valid point. That's a fucking valid point. The lone win for Florida State came against this team.
Yeah.
That says a lot, right? It was at Florida State, so they had to play on this coast. It is a home game. That one maybe we just steer clear. Yeah, we'll go steer clear that one.
That is 1:30.
Yeah. 1:30 in the morning.
That sounds awful.
Yeah.
1:30 in the morning. Ugh.
Well, no, actually it's not because it's 10:30 East Coast time, so
It'd be
it's 7:30 there. So it is a 10:30 kickoff because that's East Coast time
it's
kickoff.
10:30 kickoff.
Okay, never mind. I'm over mathing it.
Yeah, I'll take Miami.
Yeah, I'll take Miami. That's not bad. That's still a late kickoff.
Yeah.
Traditionally, they never kick off at 10:30.
Those 10:30 kickoffs, the 11 o'clock kickoffs where they're playing at 8 o'clock on the West Coast, and I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah.
That's a rough one. Yeah, that'll wrap that one up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, of course, playoffs are going on. Mets are up 8-4 on the Brewers right now in the top of the 8th.
Something we haven't touched on in the world of sports, lost several
icons. Yeah, the one everybody probably already knows now is Pete Rose passed away yesterday. One of my early childhood heroes was Pete Rose.
Yeah.
Just a sad thing that Pete Rose, the all-time hits leader, and has numerous other records in Major League Baseball, and was banished from Major League Baseball.
How long does it take for baseball to say, okay, Pete can go in now?
I'd say the over-under is 2 years. Take the under.
I mean,
The problem is, though, is they should have let him in years ago.
especially now that sports betting is legal.
Well, that fucking solid point, Steve. But
He made the first bet in Cincinnati.
he did. That was awesome. He was the first one in Ohio. But then, you have all the guys that have cheated the game, right? The guys that have used steroids and all this, and that's cheating the game.
I think those guys should be in too, though.
They brought baseball back from the dead.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not against them being in. I'm really not. Like, because that was the error. You weren't testing for steroids, so why wouldn't you not use them, right?
Baseball knew.
They did know. Well, obviously. They're like, our pockets are getting fatter. We can't do anything about this right now.
No. I mean, it took Congress coming in and doing something about it.
Right. But that's what I'm saying, though, is you had guys that cheated the game.
Yeah.
That you let play out careers, and you still recognize them in the record books and everything else, which they do Pete Rose too. But
none of the big steroid guys have gotten in yet. So
no, but you still let them be on the ballot.
Yeah.
I guarantee you the first ballot that Pete Rose, if he was still alive, first ballot he was on, Hall of Famer.
Oh, yeah.
No questions.
At worst, second. At worst. Because baseball writers are snobby like that.
They are, but a lot of them are dying off, thank God.
Yeah, I'm not a big... dude, I hate that they never vote anybody unanimous first year. I mean, there's a few that get in. I think Griffey got in.
Griffey was... Mariano Rivera was the first one.
Yeah.
And then it was Griffey.
Yeah.
Those are first of the kind, though. And why did it take so long?
I mean, why? Like, how...
Derek Jeter will be one.
How shitty is it that you got to be that way about it?
Because they're snobby. They act
nah,
like
no one gets in on the first ballot.
Not unanimously.
Get the hell out of here.
Actually, Griffey wasn't unanimous. Griffey had one
dickhead.
Yeah, that's right. Because, and they all said which one of us is not going to do it. Because, of course, he belongs in, but we're not going to make it unanimous.
I'm not going to make him unanimous. Not me.
Yeah, stupid. Like, and you look at the ballot that Griffey was on, too. It's like, that's the one guy you left off.
Get out of here.
Yeah. Like, your voting rights should be revoked.
Yeah.
Because of that. But that's the same. But this it comes back to baseball being weird like that. Like, we've had, 3 commissioners since Pete Rose was banished from baseball?
Yep. Well, they've talked about, like, lifting the ban and stuff, and, like
they want to play this old school. Well, you bet. So?
Well, somebody said, one of the guys, like, look, you just admit you bet, we'll lift the ban, and you'll go in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And Pete was kind of playing hardball about it at first. And then all of a sudden he kind of made light about it. And then he started making money off of, like, they actually let him start coming back to events.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, he's going to end up in. I mean, I don't care if he bet on baseball. Not like he was betting on his team to win.
Right. There's no proof that he bet on his team to lose and he fixed the game for them to lose. Right. That's my biggest problem with it is. If you had that kind of evidence, okay, that's
different. That's different.
But he was like betting on his team to win.
It's like a dude that played the basketball player that just got the ban.
Yeah.
Who was
the guy for the Pacers, right?
No, it was it Pacers or I thought it was Toronto or somewhere, where he was essentially faking injuries and then telling his people to bet the under on all his numbers.
Yeah. I mean, smart.
I don't know, not very smart now because
the
betting sites caught on to it like immediately.
Right, but here's the thing though: is he going to be banned from the NBA?
Yeah, they banned him.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they banned him.
Well, I guess in a world of sports betting and that kind of activity, yeah, that could do that. But see, that's an understandable thing. That is, right?
The 2 highest prop bets in the NBA all revolved around him.
Oh, really? Ooh.
Like people that don't normally because only high rollers you have to have like
They were
a
like,
certain code.
why is this guy being bet on?
Yeah,
Like
and there was
bullshit is
like
this? Yeah.
huge payouts the first time. It was like and then it happened again.
Yeah,
And then they started looking in on it, and they were like,
that makes sense. But that's a reason to be banished because you're fixing a sport.
"That's it. You're not even fixing. You're fixing a bet."
Right. Yeah. I mean, when money's involved, that's going to piss off everybody.
Yeah. Especially when essentially all the leagues have partnerships and sponsorships with betting sites and stuff.
Well,
now.
yeah, and casinos and everything.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I get it. In addition to Pete Rose, Dikembe Mutombo passed away.
Yeah. Brain cancer.
Yeah, that's crazy. That
Yeah.
sucks, man. Usually, like the big guys die from like just other health reasons. But
Yeah.
brain cancer. It's like, damn. And now you're just gonna miss. No.
No. Used to love that commercial. That was great.
No, they're awesome. I mean, he's just awesome in the league. Like defensively, he made a block shot exciting.
Yeah. 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 One of the thing I miss is playing in Denver. Him like laying on the floor celebrating when they won that playoff game.
They came back from 3 games to nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it.
It was in like
they're
the
the
second.
first team to do it against the Supersonics, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just like, wow. I mean, the emotion was right there.
Yeah, you saw it all.
Yeah. Just crazy. A lot of people died in the last week, man.
Who else?
Chris Christopherson died.
No. For real?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't notice that.
John Amos, the dad from Good Times, passed away today.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, I knew he was in bad health, and so a lot of shit was going.
Yeah, yep.
A lot of videos and like just stuff from Good Times.
Yeah, not that it's usually our wheelhouse, but
No, it's not, but it's still good. It was a good show.
Who else? I feel like there's somebody else that was like, oh, really? But
That's rough.
yeah. But my friend, anything else you got?
No, I mean there's some other stuff we could have kind of jumped into, but let's not really stretch out more than an hour and 45 minutes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, whoopsie. It's all good. The Raiders maybe trading Devontae Adams is on the docket. Playoff baseball's in full swing. You have some other football teams that are on the struggle bus, and you see a lot of turmoil, a lot of rumors and things like that. Stuff we could have probably addressed today, but we'll worry about that next time.
How about this one quick thing?
Yeah.
1 minute. Devontae Adams, other than the Chiefs.
Well, you're not gonna trade him to a division rival.
I get that.
Yeah.
Other than Chiefs, where's he going?
Bills, and more Bills. That's where I think he ultimately would land, because if you say there's anything missing offensively, or if you're missing piece for the Bills, and what you want to shore up quickly is going to be wide receiver position for the Bills.
Yeah, they're a little like. I mean, the kid from Florida State had looked okay.
Sure. No, I mean, but the thing is like you need a true defined number one wideout, and if you want to give Josh Allen all the help he can get, boom, it is.
That's a good spot.
Yeah, Bills. 100%.
That's a good spot.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't think of.
There's not a better spot for him, and a spot that would make more sense
As far
than
as
the Bills.
winning a Super Bowl, yeah.
He gets on a winning roster. He has an opportunity. He's going to make them better instantly.
Rams?
They could use it. I just don't know if they got the cap space for him. It's not a possibility. They're still recovering from the all-in blitz they made for the Super Bowl run. So
True.
So I don't see that as being a move because he'd be a rental for a year anyway.
Yeah, he'd be a rental for them. Yeah. I think he could finish his career in Buffalo.
I mean, they'll talk about the Jets simply because of Aaron Rodgers and whatnot, but I just don't see it happening.
I think they got bigger problems offensively.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think Aaron looks like
Aaron doesn't look like Aaron.
Yeah.
I don't think Devontae Adams wants to go back to that. Not from what he's seen at this point, right? They might be buddies and all, but I wouldn't want to go back to that. I wouldn't want to go to that situation.
Nah.
Then sharing the ball with Garrett Wilson? No thanks.
Garrett Wilson, that catch he made a couple weeks ago was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
The little stop and just reach in.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, till next week, my friend.
Yes, sir. We'll get at it. We appreciate you.
Post-game show is brought to you by Christ, I can't find it. The hell with it.